Hi, today we're going to go over BWLD, Buffalo Wild Wings, stock we've been trading. We've traded about 3 times so far. Two small losses on this pullback, one really nice gain here. Now it's moved up to the it had moved up to the new highs, and earnings were yesterday. What we were looking for was a breakout that we could trade, and if it did break out the way the stock's been moving, it had the potential to go up to around 200. And that's not what happened. That's the reason I don't trade around earnings. Uh, it really makes no sense to me. The stock had knockout earnings. Uh, I would have imagined it had gone up, but a few comments that the company made worried investors, and the stock gapped down hard, uh, down to the 200-day moving average. It had gone below that, stabilized right at the 200-day moving average. So right now it's between the 200 and the 50-day. I would imagine it's going to do some back and forth in between here. There's going to be multiple things to look at to trade. One, if a range develops in here, we can trade the range back and forth. We watch the moving averages for remounts to see if we can get long again. For that, we want to see volume pick up, positive volume pick up. If the volume on a bounce is low, that's going to be what's called a dead cat bounce, and that's a good setup to short. So if the volume is low, the stock is bouncing slowly up to around 150, 155, that might be a good short setup. If the volume is positive, that means we could be getting a remount of the 50-day moving average in the near future. If that happened, we'd get long again, and it'd go back to being a trending positive stock. The setup that I really want to see happen, we'll see if it does, is I would love to see the stock free fall a little more into this 130, 135 range. Let me pull out of go to the 6-month here, and you can see there's some old range-bound action here. This would, and a low here. This would provide some support here. It'd be what we call a rubber band setup. This would be a rubber band long setup. We'd want to see stochastics move down to extremely low levels. Like right now, it was extremely high at 90. We want to see it down below 10. A fall down to around 130, 135. That would be a great long setup. And these snapback bounces, even if the stock goes into a downtrend, the snapback bounce could go up to 140, 150 before it resumes the downtrend. So we don't know what's going to happen with the stock now. It's wait and see. There'll be multiple ways to play it, and I'll talk about it as the trading ranges develop in the coming days, weeks ahead, probably weeks ahead. So that's it for BWLD. While I've got you here, I'm about to start my scanning. So the first thing I do is look at breakouts. I have some of my own breakout scans, which look for 5% breakouts, and I have some other filters in there to just get specific stocks. But I also like to take an index, like here's the Russell 1000, and just look at the biggest movers in the Russell 1000. I also do it for SPY. I'll do it for the NASDAQ. And here, the reason I like the Russell is it has a lot of stocks that move fast. Twitter, we've all heard about Twitter. Big gap up today. Of course, I'll be watching this stock, but as a trade right now, it's tough. There's this huge gap here, and the breakout bar isn't very big, so the range that develops here, we'll watch it in the coming days and see how it reacts. If it were to drop down and fill the gap, that would be a great entry. But right now, there's no trade for us. US Steel, this one is similar to Twitter. We've got a huge gap up, and the nice thing about this, it's also a big breakout bar. So a pullback to the breakout bar would set up a nice breakout pullback. There's still this gap area here, so we could get stopped out. But and if that happened, we'd wait for a gap fill, which would be a low volume pullback into the 28, 29 range. It would probably take some time to develop, but if it does, you get that support in here and usually get some nice bounces. So there's two ways to play this one. One thing to notice about X, and it's the reason, even though a lot of people have been talking about it lately, and I kind of liked this setup here, I don't trade it because you're really not getting, it's not very volatile. The most, even with this huge gap, the most we're going to move is a few points. But it'll still be on the watch list. EW, nice breakout over a resistance level here. This is definitely one to watch. I'd love to get in on a pullback 90, 91 and see then if it breaks out and makes a run to 100. Again, there's a big gap here. You have to watch for that. You could get stopped out for a small loss. It pulls back to like a gap fill type thing, or even back to this old support level. Yelp, a stock that's been on our focus list. We've traded a few times. Nice breakout on heavy volume. There's still this overhead resistance here. I'd love to get in on a pullback to 70, 71 and see if it makes a run up. With this volume pattern, that looks great. I think it eventually will test the old highs here around 100. For us right now, it's a matter of getting in a good entry. So this will definitely be on the short-term watch list. I would imagine it's going to be on the focus list the coming days. So that's what I do. I just go through these stocks here. We're down to 8% here. I look all the way down to about 3%, and it's really fast. Even though it looks like a lot of stocks, it goes quickly. ACP, good stock, not one I really want to trade for a variety of reasons. BH, another good stock, but not a lot of volatility here, even with this huge breakout. What are we looking at? Going from 22.50 to 24 in a matter of, it'll probably take a while to do that, so not one I'm considering. And I just keep flipping here until I get the stocks I want, and then I'll go to my own scans. I'm going to be starting the scans now. I'll have the report out in a few hours, and I'll see you then.